After tackling the Trosky map, I was wondering what the Kuttenberg map had to offer us. Let's talk about it. As with the previously discussed Trosky map, the Kuttenberg map will be based on the real-life map as well. I will be, again, butchering these locale names, so please bear with me. Especially apologies to my Czech viewers, because there were a ton of them on my last video. Actually, the majority of them, over 40%. Which means that if you all would subscribe to my channel right now, I would hit the 1,000 subscriber point, no problem. But let's get into it. The Kuttenberg map is quite a bit larger than the Trosky map, over twice as large actually. During the first livestream, Toby panned around the map but didn't hit stops in all the corners, rather the tops and sides. So this makes this map a bit more inaccurate. Two distinct landmarks were shown, however, the city of Kuttenberg of course, and Suchdol. The map could be expanded with screenshots from the gameplay showcase which showed the town of Bylany. And another landmark is actually also known that was posted on X, the Malešov castle that lies due southwest of Kuttenberg. Using this information, the in real life map could be constructed, although it is very clear very early on that the real life map and the in-game map will differ in size, more so than the Trosky map. Orientation was almost bang on. You can clearly see that Kuttenberg is due east from Suchdol on both real life and in-game map, so true north is pretty much true north here. After that, it was time to start adding the towns and cities to the map, and while Kuttenberg is among the older towns mentioned, finding its origin within the Sedlec monastery in 1142, there are other places on the map such as Malin and the location that will come up later in the video that are older. I was able to find a grand total of 30 towns and cities which were founded before 1403. I can only imagine the amount of painstaking work Warhorse had to do to make this map happen, because there is just a lot of ground to cover. What to include and what to exclude. And for me personally, I needed to get some help too. And I got that in the form of a Discord user by the name of Big Vadoulier, which is Grand Vadoulier or the Big Wander. And this map, it really did take us on a big wander indeed. In the interest of keeping things a little bit easier to digest, we're removing the cities we do not have footage from. We'll get back to some of those others later. That leaves us with Suchdol, Bylany, Pschitoky, Kuttenberg, Poličany, and Malešov. First up, Suchdol Castle. This is where Margrave Jobst gives Henry the riot act.
I have concluded a very fragile truce with Sigismund, and if anyone should disrupt my plans with headstrong acts of violence, there will be consequences.
And here on the map is the approximate location of the siege engine which throws a rock at the castle. This is also the same direction where the siege comes from. On the battlements you can see the siege engine in the distance from the gameplay. Another shot from this city comes where Henry rides past Suchdol Church, which stands just east of the fort. In the IGN gameplay, the fort is shown, and to the left in the corner is the church, thus confirming it is the Suchdol Church where Henry is riding past. Bylany is the town you meet some dice players at in the gameplay showcase. Henry and his trusty steed stand over here.
Will you help us, Henry?
They then follow this road into town and end up at the tavern over here. Pschitoky is where you eventually find Adder. This shot has you approaching the fort, and it is followed by this shot where you ride past it towards the estimated location of the butcher's place. Adder's tree is located here. In the distance you can just make out the orange roof of the Sedlec monastery, which is located due northeast of the Kuttenberg center here. Then we get an overview shot from Kuttenberg from this direction. We fly over the Church of All Saints, which is also known as the Church of Bones today. It was built in 1400 and served as an ossuary, a final resting place for human skeletal remains. We will likely not see the ornate arrangement of bones inside the church, as that would not happen until 1870, when a woodcarver named František Rindt was appointed to place the bones in order. From here there's an overview shot of Kuttenberg, and another one from this direction. Here are also two shots where Henry rides towards the city. One here riding towards the west side of the city, where we again see the Sedlec monastery in the background. And here going towards the St. Barbara's Cathedral, which he then passes and later goes into the city gates located here. We also got a shot in this direction showing St. Barbara's Cathedral under construction. You can actually see the Corpus Christi Chapel in front of the cathedral in the left hand side of this shot. There's also another shot of the city located here. Poličany's outskirts are shown in passing as you are turned away at a set of ruins in the distance. The ruins you're approaching here are actually the ruins of Cimburk Hill Fort. They predate everything shown on this map, and the hill fort shown here dates back to the early medieval period, whereas the settlement itself dates back to the Bronze Age, some 800 to 2000 years before the birth of Christ. And last but not least, of course, Malešov, which contains the castle due south of Kuttenberg. We got our first glimpse on a series of pictures posted on X. We also see Markvart, Eric, and who is assumed Henry III of Rosenborg in this shot. Later the castle is also attacked with both Henry, Hans, and Godwin taking part in the assault. Talking about castle and forts, these are the locations indicated by Big Verdoulier of possible locations of fortifications on the map, some of which we have talked about. An interesting one is Rapstein. What is now a lake used to be a brook and a valley with 3 water mills and a fort. The settlement was called Stara Lotha, Stara translating into old. The Nova and Nova Lotha, a bit further southwest on the map here, translates as new. And there's another theory by Big Verdoulier. During the 25-minute gameplay reveal, you save Adder and going to meet up in a place called Devil's Den.
He's waiting for you at the Devil's Den.
There's a town called Sartovka in this region, which translates to the devil, but historical records tell us it was established in 1778. There was a single tavern reported in the 16th century located next to the brook running through the town. That location was called Sevadilka, which was later called Sartoviki or Devil's Tavern. The Devil's Den is therefore a very close name to this tavern. Kuttenberg miners would go to this tavern to excise the devil that was killing their friends in the silver mines. But because the place was in the middle of nowhere, vagabonds, thieves, and prostitutes gathered at this location. It does sound like the perfect plausible location for the Devil's Den. What we have to understand is that history has been written and rewritten over the years. And KCD, while historically accurate in some parts, is still a story of fiction in others. So this is a very plausible explanation for where this Devil's Den might actually be. So now we put the map together with all the locations we cannot confirm from the game footage we have access to. The grand total here is 30. During the second livestream we went into the codex, which showed us a total of 35 records. On the Trosky map, 8 towns fell on the map, which leaves us with another 27 for the Kuttenberg map, one of which, Suchdol, was already mentioned. It's however important to note that Skalitz was one of the locations mentioned as well. This is of course only shown in flashbacks. We don't know if we're going to go back. Likely not, but it is still mentioned and it's still taken up one spot. When we collapse the real map on the game map, we get a more complete picture. Malešov falls off the map here along with another 4 towns. We know Malešov is in the game, so after reworking the map and adjusting placement on the known locations, we end up with something like this. Assuming Malešov is the only town carrying over from that lower portion, we still end up with a hefty 26 locations, which falls in the range of the 27 left on the codex. As previously mentioned, the codex does show locations that are not in the game, so this number of 26 will likely be further reduced. One thing is for sure, Kuttenberg is an urban setting, so there's going to be plenty of locations to explore. And it doesn't even include the locations underneath Kuttenberg, because there is a ton of mines down there which we will be able to explore. So that's it, the estimated Kuttenberg map. When it comes down to estimating the size, I peg it at about 4.3 kilometers wide and 3.3 kilometers high. I would again like to thank Big Verdoulier, or Big Vad as he likes to be called, because that name is pretty hard to pronounce. I'll probably mess it up a couple of times. Without his help, this video would not have been possible at all. because there was a ton of stuff to go through, and I needed to bounce a bunch of ideas on him, and we went vice versa on a couple of things. It has been great fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I'm still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button, help me out. And as always, hashtag game for the sake of gaming, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Take care.